I want to welcome you all to Eyes Like Red Balls of Flame. This is the Call of Cthulhu. Cthulhu by Gaslight Scenario. This is by Stygian Fox. It came out several years ago. It was part of their Hudson and Brand line of adventures, and I've been itching to run it and just never done it. But now that the Cthulhu by Gaslight, the new edition books are out, I decided, why not? Let's give it a go. And it looks really, really good. So let's go ahead and get started here. Where is it? I've got a. Oh, now I can't find my paper. Sorry, give me 1 second. Okay, you are contacted one day. You receive a letter in the post. Let me send this to the chat, and I will give you access to this letter as well. It'll be under the handouts if you need to reference it again. It says, "Dear Sirs, may I introduce myself as Donald Manwaring, President of a small society of men calling ourselves the Phantom Club. For many years we have studied ghoulies and ghosties, long-leggedy beasties, and things that go bump in the night. It is, in fact, a surprise we have never encountered Hudson and Brand in our dealings in the supernatural, and although we have surely heard of you. You may be aware from recent newspaper headlines that 2 men were murdered near Hampstead Heath by unknown villainy. It was an actual fact 2 members of our club, killed in pursuit of a singular supernatural entity of the name of Spring-Heeled Jack. We ask your assistance in attempting to capture this horrid beast before more lives are lost. If you are congenial, please call at my residence, 25 High Street, Heron on the Hill, at your earliest convenience, preferably tomorrow night at 7. Kindest regards, Donald Manwaring." This arrives at the office of Hudson and Brand Detective Agency. Henry Hudson, you read this. You're the first to open it. What's your take on this?
Yes, well, would I be familiar with this detective agency?
Well, you are the leader of the detective agency that is named
Ah,
Hudson and Brand. You are Hudson in Hudson and Brand.
well,
So
oh, that
yeah,
would make sense that I would
I
be
think you're
familiar then.
probably familiar with it.
I don't tend to believe in the supernatural, but I have seen some strange things, and, I suppose I always am looking for a challenge, so this seems rather intriguing to me.
You probably show it to Dr. Brand, who is the Brand in Hudson and Brand. And Dr. Brand, what's your take on this letter?
Well, have I heard of the Phantom Club before?
Give me a roll for that. Maybe you go and scan through some documents if you want to do that. It would take you some time. It would be a library use roll because it would only be smart for you to investigate these people before you show up randomly at their house at 7 p.m. sharp. You may also give me an intelligence roll to see if you can recall any word on the Phantom Club or this Donald Manwaring. You do. Now, that is a regular success. A 35 would have been a hard success. Maybe gotten you some more information, but that is more than ample to know that the Phantom Club is a secret society, and the gentlemen of the club have spent years studying, cataloging, and attempting to hunt down supernatural entities. Although it sounds like perhaps now one of the entities has gotten the upper hand. It was founded in the early part of the century, this being the 19th century, by a man named Jacob Freely Manwaring, probably the grandfather or great grandfather of the current club president, Donald Manwaring. And you know that they interview witnesses, study the scenes of incidents, and have investigated ghosts, poltergeists, vampires, even werewolves in the years the club has existed. Much of this has been seen as merely diversionary, just something for rich men to indulge themselves in. How do you feel about these sorts of things, the supernatural?
Well, I am a doctor, and I tend to, keep away from that sort of thing, and really more believe in the proven
You
science
believe in
of it.
science?
Yeah. So, I don't know. Maybe they're just a bunch of fakers. I don't know if we can really trust them.
You've got two other men that work with Hudson and Brand. You've got the Muscle, which would be Randolph Weatherby. He's a former soldier, and then you've got the one that does all the underhanded work, Donald Blythe. Does Henry Hudson or Dr. Brand speak to those two about this, or do you just say we've got a job, let's go do it? What's your, as far as the employer-employee relationship, how would Dr. Brand handle this?
Well, not to be offensive or anything, but I don't really view them as equals to me. So I would just say we have a job to do, and we need to go.
And you would expect that they would just snap to it because,
Yep, exactly.
yep, they are your lessers, would you say?
Yeah, I guess you could say that.
What about Henry Hudson? Would you confide in these other two men that work for you, or would you just, like Dr. Brand, tell them, hey, it's time to go?
Oh, Dr. Brand may feel that way, but Henry Hudson happens to think that it's imperative that we all know the details. So he would definitely fill them in with what we've learned.
Let's jump to Donald Blythe. Donald, you've seen the reactions now from your employers, Mr. Hudson and Dr. Brand, and they give you this bit of information. What's your reaction or response to this?
I think one thing that'll factor into that, I just has kind of a carryover from my past, like to look into the paper. They have a tendency to say when important people might be out of town, and it's just interesting reading for me. But might I have come across the headlines in my just keeping up with the paper that are mentioned in this letter of the deaths of these two Phantom Club members?
Yeah, so there was mention of someone perishing recently, and let me grab it because you do find it. It's this one right here, and I'm going to send this just to you, and it's up to you if you want to share any of this with the others. Can you see that?
I am looking, but I do not see anything appearing.
So something popped up for me.
Yeah, something also popped up for
Okay,
me.
all right. Well, I was trying to.
You
be
guys
sneaky.
tell me what I see.
I think I sent it to everyone but you. So let me
I read the
again.
newspaper facing the other way around, so that is a particularity of mine.
Did that go to you, or did that skip
Yes.
you again? You got it.
Yep,
Okay,
I've got the
perfect.
newspaper clipping.
Everyone else just ignore that. So, since you've all seen it, I'm going to go ahead and make it visible as a handout here. But this was first noticed by Donald Blythe.
And this is I'm thinking about this after because Mr. Hudson has kind of confided the details of this new job, right? So I would definitely make mention of having read about uh, the two dying, and I would make sure to bring up that they had been armed at the times of their deaths and seemed to have fallen victim to, as reported in the paper, a series of stabbings, including slit throats. And
This is
that they both
likely,
have widows who survived them. Uh,
you know, that this is likely why they keep you around, because you have your finger on the pulse of kind of the grim side of things in London, and I'm sure that they have come to expect this from you.
yes, yes, and even if I see a little, perhaps wince of distaste on the good doctor's face, I'll make sure to share and prove the value that I do bring, even if it is of an unsavory variety. So I'll share those details, and I might even, uh, if we have a coffee table, I might dig through the old stack and see if I can't find the particular article to share with them, remembering having read it recently.
Yeah, give me a library use roll as you go through some of the old newspapers. And while he does that, Dr. Brand, how do you feel at seeing the usefulness of Mr. Blythe?
Well, of course, I'm aware he has his specific uses, and that is why I keep him around. But just keep him on a short leash is what I tell myself.
But you don't say that out loud.
Of course not. Of course not.
So on first scan through the library or the newspaper clippings, you were unable to come up with anything. With Call of Cthulhu, you have an option if you don't pass the first time around. You can spend luck, however, you do not have sufficient luck for this. You've got 42 luck, and it's going to cost you 51 luck in order to pass this. So it does give you the option to push the roll. What that means is that you will re-roll, but if you fail, something negative will happen. And if you do push it, you cannot then spend luck if you don't get a success. So I'll give you the option if you want to push this. If you do, the way you can do it on Foundry, if you go in the chat bar and you can see where it says the 71 that you rolled. If you click on that, it will give you the option to push. And if you do that, then if you succeed, you'll get the information. If you don't, perhaps that information will be gone.
Okay. Well, I think I've recalled some decently pertinent details. Maybe not all of them, but I think to look further would probably delay us in heading out, and I don't think the uh, good doctor or Mr. Hudson will much appreciate that. So I'll just confess I'm not sure where the paper specifically is, but I do remember hearing that they were stabbed most brutally to death. So
Excellent. Mr. Weatherby, as they come to you with this information saying, we're going to go somewhere tonight, 7 sharp, be ready, what's your take on what you've heard?
Yeah, well, I think Mr. Weatherby's he's a veteran of the Queen's armies in the First Boer War. I think he's probably quite used to people saying, "Go here at this time and do that," without much elaboration. So,
Yeah, you do
well,
as you're
he's
told.
got a jet. Yeah, yeah. So I think he's quite happy just to be on the move.
How do you feel about all this supernatural nonsense that they're talking about? Are you a believer?
Supernatural nonsense is, I think, exactly it. It's probably perfectly explicable. I think Mr. Weatherby's seen a lot of people turn to the supernatural to explain trauma.
Absolutely. Did you ever see anything in the war that could not be explained?
Probably not. I mean, his experiences were very mortal, very
Yeah, men
average.
killing one another. I mean, that is abnormal, but once you've seen that, there's very little that frightens you, I'm sure. As the evening begins to grow towards nightfall, you've got about an hour before it's time to go to the Phantom Club and meet with the members. Is there anything else that you want to do before you head there? Okay. The streets of London this time of year have been shrouded in snowfall. As the snow begins to fall, it alights upon every surface. Along the roads, it turns to slush from the passage of men and horses and carriages. Along the homes it begins to blacken with soot from coal fires. But elsewhere, along paths or along fields or open areas, it's a blanket of clean, pristine white snow. And the most interesting thing about it is how it muffles the sound. And as you walk, all you hear is the crunch of the snow beneath your boots as you head towards the Phantom Club. Donald Manwaring's home is located in Harrow on the Hill. It's a 4-story structure on the corner of High Street and Waldron Road. After ringing the doorbell, a man answers the door. He is decked out in a elaborate purple turban with pointed beard and distinct mustache. He glares at you as though waiting for you to produce something to gain admission. Gentlemen, are you invited guests?
Yes, of course we are. I think Mr. Hudson or Doctor, I think one of you probably got an invitation, yes?
Yes, Henry Hudson would have that.
Yes, most certainly. Apologies, I believe that is right here, and I will show to him the invitation we were sent.
This man takes the paper, doesn't even look at what's on there, but he holds it up to a gaslight burning near the entrance, as though he is studying a watermark on the paper. And pleased to find what he's looking for, he folds up the paper, places it into his pocket, and says, "Please, your hats and coats. Welcome to Mr. Manwaring's home. I am Ragubir, his butler. Please, follow me." And he bids you to enter. He takes your hats and coats and sets them on a rack where they can hang to dry, and takes you through a vestibule to a door that leads to a drawing room. The room is large, lavish, and there is a hearty fire in the marble fireplace. 3 men are speaking quietly to one another, seated at a table. They stop and turn when Ragubir announces your presence. One man stands and introduces himself as Donald Manwaring. Mr. Manwaring thanks you for coming, and then introduces his companions. A short, stocky, ruddy-cheeked man with curly black hair. He says, "Yes, this here is Dr. Charles Godfrey. He is a member in good standing of our club. And likewise, over here," and he points at another man, who looks younger than his companions. He's tall and brown-haired with a thick beard. "This fine specimen here is Mr. William Hodges. Mr. Hodges has been with us but a short time, but has proved invaluable in our adventures, as they were." Above the fireplace hangs a gilt-framed painting bearing an image of a young, golden-haired woman flanked by 2 red-headed boys. The glow of the fire reflects off everyone's faces, particularly off the crystal cups filled with brandy that are passed around by Ragubir. Once everyone has assembled, he bids you all to sit at the table, and Mr. Manwaring begins to grow somewhat somber, swirling the brandy in his glass. Ragubir leaves, and Mr. Manwaring clears his throat. "Welcome to the 612th meeting of the Phantom Club. I ask Mr. Godfrey to transcribe the minutes." Suddenly the door opens again. Ragubir steps back in with a silver tray bearing a pen, ink, and a red book. He deposits these in front of Godfrey before leaving. "2 of our number, Finnegan and Gargery, are absent. They are currently investigating the High Green Ghost legend in the Northeast. You see, the Phantom Club was founded in 1835 by my grandfather Jacob, to study and disseminate knowledge of supernatural creatures, their habits and origins. 2 weeks earlier, the club nearly caught our latest quarry, Spring-Heeled Jack. This was near Hampstead Heath, not far from here. The fiend brutally murdered 2 of our members. I am quite confident that Jack is lurking somewhere near or in Hampstead Heath. Would you add your expertise in trying to apprehend the entity before the death toll rises? Spring-Heeled Jack has the upper hand on us, but you shall be handsomely rewarded should you assist. And he puts his hands together, clasping them, and waits, looking at Henry Hudson and Dr. Brand. He pays little to no mind to Donald or Randolph, but he waits for Henry or Dr. Brand to speak up first.
Mr. Hodges, of course, my companions and I would be interested in this case. However, my question for you is how certain are you that it was this Spring-Heeled Jack that murdered your compatriots and not some other sort of foul play here?
I know that it was Jack. Since his reappearance, he has been spotted mostly in the area around Hampstead Heath. I would like to begin the hunt tomorrow night, if you are amenable. This man, this Spring-Heeled Jack, he is no newcomer to the Phantom Club. No, we have been seeking him for some time. He has disappeared for a stretch. It is said that my father nearly caught him 25 years ago, but alas, such was not to be. If you are amenable, I would that we meet at 11 p.m. on Haverstock Hill, near where my friends were murdered, tomorrow evening. Perhaps this will help. And he hands you an envelope sealed with wax. And let me put that in. Open up the handouts. Do you open it right away, Henry?
No, I don't think I would open it here.
Okay. Have you any other questions? Anything that to which we might assist you, as you assist us?
Since we are meeting here, this Spring-Heeled Jack, what is it exactly? I'm unfamiliar with this.
The information you seek will be in that document in your hands. From what we know of him, it will concern the entire history of Spring-Heeled Jack and how we have come to loathe the beast. And you notice that he turns his head slightly to the left as he says that. And Henry, give me a psychology roll. He's got something. He's hiding something. There's something more he wants to say. As he turns his head, your eye is drawn to that portrait above the fireplace with the golden-haired woman flanked by two boys.
Mr. Hodges, I can't but notice this fine painting you have here. Any significance to that?
Mr. Hodges, the man with the beard, says, "Oh, this is not my home. That's Donald Manwaring's. To you." And he points to the red-headed Mr. Manwaring, who's been speaking. And he says, pay that painting no mind. But I'm going to give you a roll. You can choose, it's a social roll, either charm, fast talk, or persuade. You will need a hard difficulty to get him to speak about that painting.
Fast talk will be the best for me.
Nice. How do you try to get him to talk about that? What do you say?
Well, I suppose I'd just like to, I like to get a feel for, for those who I'm going to be working for, and this painting seems to be quite the seems to draw quite the attention to itself, and I suppose it's a rather fascinating painting. Just curious about my employer.
Mr. Manwaring turns, and you see him swirling his brandy again as he studies the painting. And Dr. Godfrey, he looks in at you and says, "Aye, that's his wife and children. They it's best not to talk about them. There was a terrible accident. The two children were both killed in a tragedy."
Well, I'm very sorry for touching on the subject. You'll have to forgive me.
Yes, it's nothing. Come, let us adjourn from this table. We can speak more frankly amongst ourselves. And he grabs your arm and heads over towards a small leather sofa where next to it there's a table with a box of fine cigars. Come and choose one of these, and let us speak of tomorrow night's adventure. Dr. Brand, you look over and notice that Mr. Manwaring has grown very quiet, and he's just staring at that painting, and he has stopped swirling the brandy, and he's looking and almost not moving as he looks at this painting.
I guess I'll speak to his colleagues and ask, are you sure this man is all right? Are you sure he's sane?
So Hodges, he's the last one that's seated here. He says, "Sane? Yes. Sanity is not a requirement of the Phantom Club, nor does it seem to be much in use in these parts. Bad business, this is. Very bad business. But Mr. Manwaring does mean well. He is the best among us, and if you can help us to do this, it would lift a great weight from his shoulders."
Right, and are you sure it is wise to be going out tomorrow, if he is not in the right state of mind?
That is why you're here. He has hired the best, has he not?
Well, of course we are the best. I worry of any civilians getting hurt if this man is not well.
If we do not put an end to Spring Hill Jack, many more civilians will be hurt. Tomorrow night and every night until he is brought to heel. Mr. Blythe, Donald, as you are sitting here and you notice that much of the conversation has not been directed towards you, so you have a moment to look around and kind of survey this room. And back in your thieving days, this would have been a gold mine. There are gold fixtures, there are artifacts, there are rare books, there's everything in here that a cat burglar could make a killing with. What do you do while they're having this conversation?
So I've got my hands kind of deep in my coat pocket, plucking at a loose thread to stop them itching, and wanting to attempt to stash anything away. An attempt to be of some use. Always feeling as though my position here is a little bit tenuous. I think I'd like to. Can I see if I might be able to spot any weapons hidden on any of these gentlemen's persons? Any outlines of stools or the like?
Give me a spot hidden roll.
I'm a little distracted by something.
If you want, you can
Shiny.
spend luck. That would be 9 points of luck to make that a success, or you can push that roll.
I don't feel like I've got much of a reputation with these men to jeopardize. I'll go ahead and push it. If I'm caught peeping a little oggly, then so be it. I'll go for it. So you said click in chat and then...
Yeah, so you can
Okay,
click on
push
the
is right there.
64, and then it will give you the choice to either push or spend luck.
Um, just as a quick aside, would 9 luck be like an unreasonable amount to spend
No,
for a
so
pass, or
was in a one shot especially. Feel free to spend all the luck.
okay?
It's mostly
I
here
think
to,
I'll.
to help you have these successes. There's things that you cannot spend luck on. You can't spend luck on sanity rolls. You can't spend luck on luck rolls. Like I might ask you to make a luck roll,
Mhm.
but I would not flinch at spending under 10 points of luck, especially if I think it's important.
All right, I'll go for it
Yeah.
just to see what kind of danger we may or may not be in if these guys don't like what we say here. So I'll spend my luck to make that a success.
You can tell that when you first came in, Ragubir, the butler, he had a curved blade on him. It was out in the open. As most Sikh would wear a blade, he's got his out in the open. He also had a small blade. You can see the kind of the outline of it against the back of his clothing. He likely has multiple knives on him. Mr. Manwaring, he in his suit, it's difficult to tell, but near the fireplace, you can see a pistol on the wall. Um, it's probably not decorative. It doesn't look like an antique. It looks like a serviceable revolver. Um, Mr. Hodges, he has a gun on his person. You can see he has a. In fact, he's touching it through his shirt as he's speaking with you, and he opens his jacket now and then, and you can see the handle. It's hanging from a small holster that's just underneath his jacket. The doctor, Dr. Godfrey, you're not certain. You couldn't tell if he had any weapon, but these men are clearly familiar with firearms, and Ragubir is clearly familiar with knives.
Okay, understood. Well, I'm going to let Henry and Dr. Brand kind of continue their conversation, but I might just move a little bit closer to Henry, kind of not in a way that's going to draw too much attention, hopefully, just in case I need to try and protect my employer should someone make a weird decision. Everything seems to be going just fine right now, but just that's what I'll do.
Absolutely. Uh, Mr. Weatherby, as an ex soldier, you are familiar with firearms, and you note the pistol on the wall. It's a 450 Weatherby, or excuse me, a Webley, 450 Webley. And this weapon it's a large pistol. This would be not, a little Derringer. This is not something for, dueling. This is a pistol for killing. This is one that you would have gladly had at your side in the war. It's very expensive, but that is a very serviceable weapon. What else is Mr. Weatherby doing while the conversation goes on?
Yeah, much like Donald, I think he's of the mind of letting the talkers do the talking, but yeah, maybe after sizing up these fellows, he's maybe even keeping his eye on Donald. He seems like a reformed sort, but could be a wild card.
Give me a roll. This is going to be. Um, it's going to be a psychology roll, but you can have a bonus die on here. You've seen people under incredible amounts of stress, and you recognize that Mr. Manwaring is exhibiting signs of what they would have called shell shock in World War One, which is before this, or battle fatigue, or PTSD that they would call it now. But he's showing signs of extreme duress. Give me that psychology roll with a bonus die. Oh
Wow,
wow, yeah.
he's not
Okay,
even good at it.
didn't even need the bonus die. Um,
He was in the war.
he has you can tell that just speaking of this, and particularly speaking about the murder of his two children, that or the excuse me the murder of the two people in the club and the death of his two children, that this man he's showing a trauma response right now, that he's on that thin line between fight or flight. As the others begin to get up and mill about the room, what does Randolph Weatherby do? You can get up, you can go look for something, you can eavesdrop, you can go speak openly with someone. What would you do in this large study? There's books, there's maps, pictures, all sorts of things in here.
Yeah, maybe he would. Yeah, actually, maybe get up to a bit of snooping. Just, there's a lot of weird stuff. That handgun is pretty serious business for what he kind of took for like a group of silly fellows.
Yeah, this is not something, that is just merely for show. This, if you own a weapon like this, you know how to use it, because it's a lot of handgun for someone if they don't know, if they're not familiar with it. Give me a spot hidden roll just as you're kind of perusing the study and looking at the various things that are around.
Oh, not too much of a.
There's a lot here. It's tough to take in everything, and you're trying to put pieces together, but you're not a detective by any stretch. You're the guy that, you pack the hardware if there's a bind, and heaven forbid if the threat of violence becomes apparent, you're the one called upon to do that. You're not the one that puts the pieces together and takes the facts and comes up with a hypothesis. There's just a lot to see here. Do you want to push that roll?
Nah. Yeah, as the guy who's kind of just waiting for the action. Yeah, I don't think he's trying to offend anybody. He was just having a glance around.
Let's go back to Henry Hudson. You're speaking with Dr. Godfrey. Having that cigar, what are you talking about? Or do you ask any questions?
Well, I might be a little curious to learn a bit more about their organization, as I know little to nothing about it. So perhaps inquiring about their organization.
Yeah, Dr. Godfrey, he's chomping on his cigar, and he mentions, oh yeah, old Jacob Manwaring, Donald's grandfather. He started the club, him and his friends. I've been a member now for about 10 years, but old Donald, he fancies himself, not just the president of the club, but the de facto, the High Lord Executioner, as it were. He's the one that decides what we research, and he's the one that decides, who our targets are. We've gotten into a bit of fun. When I first joined, this was all about drinking and just, having a laugh and some diversion, but recently, my goodness, no, it's been much more serious. We've had folk in the club die, and that's not what I signed up for.
Well, have you yourself seen anything strange?
Yeah. Just old Donald there. He's not the same he was a few years ago. Just like old ghosts from his past have been dredged up or something. But, what do I know? Stress
Yeah.
definitely affect a man in different ways, I suppose. Had I lost my children, I suppose I might act much the same.
Well, I look forward to working on this case with you. It shall prove to be most interesting.
Yes, indeed. I certainly hope so. Dr. Brand, what are you doing with the time that remains you here at the Phantom Club?
Well, I am going to keep a close eye on Mr. Manwaring, just make sure he's just doing alright, just sitting there. And then I'll go up to, I guess, Mr. Hodges, and I understand Mr. Manwaring is very upset about his children. That is, of course, a terrible, terrible thing. But what of his wife?
Oh, poor thing. After the loss of the children, she was just not quite the same. Such a terrible, horrible thing that must have happened. She's spending time in a hospital, let's say. well, he does his best to get vengeance.
Vengeance, you say?
Yes, vengeance.
Well, thank you. I'm sure we will all consider meeting up with this club tonight or tomorrow night.
Tomorrow night, 11
Yes.
o'clock, on the dot. Let's meet out there, come hell or high water, but most likely snow, and see if we can't help poor Donald. Now, come and help yourselves to drinks and refreshments. Ragubir will bring out some bread and cheese, and we may speak of gentler things. Mr. Blythe, anything else you want to do here before things wind down and we'll fast forward to the next morning?
I suppose if we're mingling for a little bit and I'm not going to be interrupting any conversations, I might be a little curious if I can steal a moment with Mr. Hodges. I'd maybe like to try to casually inquire as to how he came to find himself a member of the Phantom Club. What led him to such a strange gathering?
Give me a social roll, either charm, persuade, or fast talk.
Okay. I'm just checking to see real quick. Best. That looks like fast talk's my best one.
Oh, you missed it by 2. You want to spend 2 luck points, or you can take
Yes.
There we go. He says, well, to be honest, it was my uncle. He suggested that I find something to keep my mind off the horses. I have a bit of a weakness for gambling, and if I spend my time here, I'm not spending it at the track. And bless it if my uncle wasn't right. Who has the time for gambling if you're embroiled in mysteries such as these? I do miss it though. In fact, I'll give you even odds that we don't get Spring Hill Jack tomorrow night. I've not the highest hopes of that. 2 to 1, you say?
I would take your bet, but I think in that case I would be betting on the appearance of someone who, based on what I've heard and read in the papers and what I fear may be in the dossier was handed over.
Bad
I
business.
don't fancy a meeting with him. Yes, so
Very bad
I'll not bet
business.
against myself. But
Well, it is for the best, you see. But well, to tomorrow night then. And he raises his brandy and
I'll
throws
do
it
the same.
down. And he grimaces a little bit. He's very young and still kind of growing into his alcoholism. It's going to take him some time, so he's not quite there yet.
Right. I kind of like him. I'll just make a little small talk with him until it's time for us to head out then.
Yeah, he opens up to you, and you guys speak of better things, not related to Spring Hill Jack, not related to the death of children or the murder of 2 club members. And he seems to open up quite a bit when the conversation is not grim as such. Dr. Godfrey, on the other hand, is the opposite. He likes talking about the supernatural and the occult, and you get the feeling, were he a modern character, he would be all into reality TV. He's just fascinated by all of this intrigue and oh, it's delightful. Yes, it is. And tell me, have you ever seen a dead body? And he's just very. I guess the kids nowadays would say he was very cringy. He's just kind of a little bit creepy and over the top, and just it's like, wait till you see a dead body, sir. Things will be different for you. What kind of doctor he might be? Clearly not a surgeon, because he talks about what it must be like to see all that blood. Anyone else want to speak anything directly related to an investigation? All right, you return home. You get home about 9 o'clock, and you've got approximately 24 hours before you meet again to go and look for Spring Hill Jack, this would be perfect time to maybe look over that sealed envelope that was handed to you, as well as trying your best to maybe scour the newspapers or gather up information on what has gone down. So let's go ahead and look at that envelope. That is handout number 2. Let me make it observable. When you crack open the envelope, it's 2 pages. It's on the Phantom Club letterhead. And it says the Jack case. Let me send this to you so you guys have it. It says, "For whom it is concerned, please find here all pertinent information the Phantom Club has gathered regarding Spring-Heeled Jack. The first recorded encounter happened in October 1837. A girl by the name of Mary Stevens was walking to Lavender Hill near Clapham Junction Railway after visiting her parents in Battersea. As she made her way through Clapham Common, a man leapt at her from an alley and attacked her. According to her police statement, he restrained her in a tight grip and kissed her face passionately against her will. He proceeded to tear off her clothes and molest her with claws, which, according to her description, were cold and clammy as those of a corpse. A year later, Spring-Heeled Jack gained official recognition. On the 9th of January, 1838, the Lord Mayor of London, Sir John Cowan, shared a letter of complaint he had received regarding a recent attack. This was shared with newspapers, and soon after, letters from all around London came to him describing other assaults perpetrated by the entity. For the most part, these attacks were against young women, with the same vicious claws mentioned in the first attack. The most famous case concerns a girl named Jane Alsop. Alsop's assault occurred on the night of 19th of February, 1838. She answered the door of her father's house and was greeted by a man wearing a dark cloak. The man claimed to be a police officer and said, "For God's sake, bring me a light, for we have caught Spring-Heeled Jack here in the lane." Miss Alsop brought him a candle, and after she handed it to him, he threw off his cloak and presented a most hideous and frightful appearance, vomiting blue and white flames from his mouth. His eyes were said to resemble red balls of flame. She reported that the entity wore a large metal helmet, something like a skull cap, and that his clothing resembled a very tight-fitting white oilskin. She described his claws as being of some metallic substance. There were multiple attacks after 1838, but in 1860 the reports became less frequent, but more widely spread. These included sightings in Northamptonshire, East Anglia, and Devon. For the most part, they concerned attacks on coaches and young women. One witness described Spring-Heeled Jack as the very image of the devil himself, with horns and eyes of flame, and disguised in a skin coat which had the appearance of bullock's hide, skullcap, horns, and mask. A resurgence occurred in 1877, where at Aldershot Barracks in Hampshire, Spring-Heeled Jack assaulted a group of soldiers and was shot to no effect before escaping. A similar event happened in Lincolnshire that autumn, and then in Liverpool a year later. Spring-Heeled Jack returned to London in January 1890, where he was witnessed in the area to the south of Hampstead Heath. And then there's a drawing, artist's depiction of Spring-Heeled Jack. Where might you go to research more information, or what would you use as a resource to try and dig up more info on Spring-Heeled Jack? Let's talk to Henry Hudson. You're the consulting detective. What might you look for?
Well, would there be any of these soldiers that had encountered him left alive?
From the early 1800s, probably not. Like from the 1840s, they would be 70, 80 years old. Very unlikely that they are alive. You could go ask, though. Probably find them at a hospital.
Well, I believe that was 1877. Was the encounter with the soldiers? Was
Oh
it
yes,
not?
yeah. Sorry, I was thinking the 1837. Yes, very very likely that some of them would be alive.
If I could track down some of them, they might prove to have some valuable information.
Yeah, give me a roll for that. I'm going to say it's. I don't think library use is the correct roll for that. Maybe like a. Oh. Let's do. I think library use is probably going to be the best. That's more like investigating, researching. So yeah, let's do a library use. No. Do you want to drop 40 luck or push that?
I will try pushing that.
Oh, it's even worse.
Even worse.
You do get in contact with one such soldier, and if you mention that you want to talk about Spring Hill Jack, he slams the door in your face and shouts at you from behind the door, "Go away! Do not mention that name to me ever again!" And clearly is not willing to speak with you. What is Dr. Brand doing while Henry is tracking down these soldiers?
Well, perhaps I could try to find maybe some newspaper clippings of the reported attacks.
Yeah, you might go through the newspaper archives. That's going to be a library use role as well. And that's terrible. If you want to push that roll or spend the luck, that would be 17 luck.
I'll push the roll.
There we go. Yes, you do find. You find something. Let me send it to everyone here. It says, "Dreadful coach crash. 2 children dead. Masters Edwin and Robert Manwaring died last Friday in consequence of an awful attack when a maniac leapt in front of their family carriage. The father of the children, Donald Manwaring, was subsequently dreadfully mangled and bruised during a further assault by the madman. His wife Sophia has been placed in Holloway Asylum, where it is hoped she will recuperate from her current catatonic state. A witness to the accident stated he saw a man wearing a long black cape leap towards the coach from the shadows and knock the driver from his seat. No further witnesses have come forward in regards to this dreadful tragedy, and police continue their investigations." I'll make that visible. What about Donald Blythe? What are you doing during this time of investigation?
I think my efforts are going to be best spent talking to old contacts, especially if I know anyone over that might make a living, shall we say, in Hampstead Heath. If I can maybe talk with them and see if they either know more details about the attack on the Phantom Club members from 2 weeks ago, or perhaps if they haven't, if they've just heard or seen any strange happenings that may be related to this Spring Heel Jack.
Give me. I'm going to make that a listen roll, as you are kind of you're going and asking some contacts, trying to ask the right questions, get the right information. Give me a listen roll. Typically, listen is just for, "Hey, did I hear that?" But I think this one, you're trying to filter through information that's coming to you from the kind of the criminal underbelly of London.
Yeah, maybe places we might congregate, and then maybe trying to overhear some conversations too. So
Yeah, I like that.
go with that.
You hear someone mention, "Oh, you got to talk to old Peterson. Peterson, he was recently hired by the Phantom Club, and that man, he ain't no governor. I'll tell you what, he's good with a knife. He is. Old Peterson, he's a creepy fella. If you can find him, perhaps he can tell you a little bit more about why he's gotten hired. However, do be careful, for that one, he's a bit bloodthirsty, if you know what I mean.
You know the type. Much appreciated. I'll
Yes.
maybe slip just a couple pounds over.
Yeah, and they take it, oh, much obliged, sir. You have yourself a blessed day. And then this person goes on, continuing down the street as though he is not a member of any sort of criminal enterprise. But you have a name now, Peterson. It sounds like he's been hired by the club. Just much like you've been hired by Hudson and Brand to do their dirty work, perhaps Peterson has been hired by the Phantom Club to do theirs. And Randolph Weatherby,
Okay.
what are you doing during this time? Oh, are you muted?
Sorry.
Oh, there we are.
Oh, jeez. Yeah. Hello. My mic does weird things sometimes. All right. So I guess Weatherby would be like. I mean, he's an ex-soldier, right? He probably
Yes.
knows a few people himself. I don't know if he really knows much about this crazy story of a weird monster thing, but can't hurt to ask around.
Yeah. Give me maybe a fast talk roll as you're kind of hitting up maybe a few of your soldier buds, some of your chums.
Yeah, he probably doesn't keep touch much.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it comes across as very disingenuous.
Do you want to push that or spend the luck? Maybe 18 luck.
I mean, he has 5 fast talk. I really want to. Yeah, I'm gonna spend the luck.
Well, or do you want to use a different skill? Just tell me how you might use that skill.
Fast talk's pretty appropriate. That's the
Yeah.
thing. I mean, it kind of makes the most sense there. So,
You want to spend that luck? 18 luck to pass that one?
yeah, I did it.
Okay. What specifically are you asking about?
If anybody, any of them, knows about this folklore, or and even knows any of the soldiers involved, perhaps.
You have a little bit better luck than Henry Hudson had. One of the soldiers mentions something to you, and you didn't know this soldier from combat. He's probably a friend of a friend, but he opens up to you and starts to ask you about, have you ever had that feeling when you're about to be shelled, how everything just feels awful, your whole body shakes, and you cannot do nothing but catch your breath, just breathe and wait for it to be over. And if you nod your head, he might say, aye, when I saw that thing, it was like that. I couldn't believe my eyes. I thought for sure it was a man. I put 3 rounds in him. He didn't flinch at all. He just leapt away. This thing could leap, could jump over a trench, over a hill. Oh, I bet it could jump over a home if it had to. It leapt 20 feet in the air, like it were nothing. It's almost inhuman, it seems. I still think about it from time to time. Not even the drink can get that memory out of my mind.
Yeah, no, the even the war doesn't sound quite so horrific. I think he's skeptical, of course, but
I
wouldn't
know
call him a
war.
liar.
War I can do. I've done it. This I cannot do. I don't know what it was. It weren't no human thing.
Well, friend, you may have just done much in helping me learn more. Yes, much appreciated.
If you get caught out and you see this thing, best make sure that you've made your peace with your fellow man and with God, for it's a killer.
Duly noted.
You see his hand beginning to tremble, and he grabs it and stuffs his hand into his pocket so that you won't see him afraid.
Poor fellow. I think I'd offer him a cigarette. I mean, I've actually got cigarettes. That's nice.
Yeah, he would take it and takes a long drag on it, and as he exhales, he just closes his eyes, and you see him thinking of better times, better things, trying to flush that memory from his mind. And he nods. Aye, 'tis a good one. 'Tis flavorful, indeed. Thank you, sir. And he heads down the street, his head down low. You can see the occasional puff of smoke coming from him as he heads into the chill early afternoon air.
Well,
Anyone-
at least you got some.
Anyone else have any follow-up questions or investigating they want to do from what they were looking at? All right.
Henry Hudson, having little luck finding a willing witness, he would like to, perhaps on his way back to the detective agency, perhaps stop by the Hampstead Heath, the last known location of this beast, and see if he can't find any clues that might give any information about it.
Yeah, give me a spot hidden roll.
I'm not sure if it gives a bonus, but he will pull out his magnifying glass and inspect some promising areas.
Yeah, I'll give you a bonus. This will take most of the day for you, but I'll give you a bonus die. Nice. Didn't even need the bonus die. It's hard to tell because of the snowfall. If there had been tracks or prints, they're long gone. The snow has obscured and wiped away much of everything. You do notice that many of the homes in the area where the attack had happened, there are windows that face the street and that face where this attack took place, but if you go and knock on any of the doors, no one is willing to speak with you. All they say is, we've told the police our statement. We'll leave it at that. Leave us alone. And they do not want to speak. You do find something promising. I'm going to take us to a map. You find something promising. There is here is Hampstead Heath, right here, and there's a lot of homes and roads around here. There's some ponds up over here, and they are not quite frozen over. And as you are walking around Hampstead Heath, at this pond here, you look out and you can see there's a child, and they're throwing bits of bread crust out for some ducks that are on that pond. And you stop and you actually watch this for a moment. And the child is taking great delight in throwing out these bits of crust to the ducks. And they pause and they stop and they turn to look at you, and as they do, for a moment, you see that their eyes are like red coals, and you blink, surprised to see it, and then as quickly as it happened, it's gone, and you see this smiling face of a child looking up at you. And then suddenly you feel that feeling in your stomach that you are being watched. And the child runs off over through these neighborhoods and up to Parliament Hill, and will disappear over the crest of the hill. And still you can't shake the feeling that someone or something is aware that you are following them.
When they ran off, did the feeling also dissipate?
If anything, it got a little worse. Give me a sanity roll. Oh, geez, that's terrible. Um, you're going to lose.
Nearly a fumble.
You lose 1d4 points of sanity. Let me get that there for us. Come on, roll. Ooh, 3 points of sanity. So on your character sheet, I think it's on the bottom left, you will find the sanity. Yep, you reduce it by 3. So at the very bottom, you can see there's a daily limit, and that's 1/5 of your sanity. If you lose 1/5 of your sanity in a single day, you will go indefinitely insane. If you lose 5 points in a single go, there's a chance that you could go temporarily insane. So that just took about 30% of your daily limit right there at seeing that child. Now, anytime you fail a sanity roll, you will have an outburst. You will drop something. You will let out a little scream or a squeal or a gasp or something. What does Henry Hudson do when he has that moment where he thinks he sees something with that child and that feeling? What is your visceral reaction to that?
I think he likely lets out a gasp, and then he will take a moment and sit down and perhaps pull out his pipe while he catches his breath and recollects on what just happened.
It takes a few minutes, but that feeling finally begins to fade and drift away. It's still very, very uncomfortable, but you finally begin to regain your senses, regain your composure, and you can get up and continue on your way, on your investigating. Anyone else following up on their investigations before we jump to 11 p.m. that night?
I think that Donald Blythe, having heard both of obviously the many horrors of Spring Heel Jack and also of Peterson and his some brutal ways, I think I'd like to maybe try and arm myself. I don't believe I'm usually equipped with a firearm or anything, but working for a detective agency, is it possible for me to purchase one illegally? And if not, might I know somewhere I could get one under the table?
So you do have a handgun. So if you on your character sheet,
Oh, I do.
so it won't show up under gear and cash. It'll show up under combat. You have a
Oh,
small knife and you have a handgun.
oh, excellent. Never mind then.
So yeah,
Uh,
so you do have a weapon. They would almost insist that you have something with you if you're
Gotcha.
going to be their kind of their hidden fist, whereas
Right,
Weatherby
right.
is their open fist.
Then I would just like to return to the agency and maybe share a little bit on what I found as far as um, the club having uh, perhaps a criminal or ex-criminal contact of their own by the name of Peterson, who's got not the best reputation. That may also be around Hampstead Heath.
Randolph, when you get back and you are probably more you've probably had a little easier time today. You were able to smooth over the feelings of a fellow soldier. You get back and you kind of hear the information trickling in that others have gathered. What's your reaction or response to what you're hearing? How does that affect you?
The primary thing that's worried Randolph is the impervability of this creature. I
Yeah,
mean,
it's
being
been
shot
shot
is,
and just seemed to
yeah.
walk away.
It attacked a group of soldiers with very little hesitation, multiple times allegedly. So
I'm gonna pull
he's pretty concerned.
your guys' tokens out here on the map just so we have them. Make it easier for you to find your character sheets. Yeah, it sounds like this thing could not be stopped by bullets if the stories were to be believed. Now, one thing that you do know from wartime is that it is not uncommon for someone to fire, you know, countless rounds and not hit anything, and sometimes people will swear, yeah, I hit 3 different people, and then it turns out you didn't hit anybody, and it's almost you have to take those stories with a grain of salt because you know that
Absolutely.
you know very rarely is a soldier going to say, "Yeah, I shot at him and missed." They're going to say, "Oh, I hit the guy, and somehow he just kept going." So you have your doubts as far as the veracity of that story.
100%. Yeah, you've probably seen it. People could shoot at each other from feet and miss.
Yeah, from feet away and still miss each other. You have a late supper that night. It's probably a little quiet around the table as you eat. Whenever there's something dangerous afoot, everyone tends to be a little bit more reserved and on their guard. But the appointed hour arrives. When you arrive at Haverstock Hill at 11 p.m., you find 5 men present, each wearing heavy coats to conceal their weapons. There are the 3 club members, the butler Ragubir, and a new addition. He is introduced only as Peterson. He's got terrible teeth. Donald Blythe, you know that Peterson is the criminal that's been hired by the club whenever there's violence is on the menu. And they tell you that he also knows the area around the Heath extremely well. Once everyone is together, they suggest that you break into 2 teams. Manwaring, Hodges, and Ragubir will go in one. Godfrey and Peterson will go in the other. How do you wish to split yourselves up? So there's Godfrey and Peterson, and Manwaring, Hodges, and Ragubir.
I think I'd like to go in the group with Manwaring just to make sure he doesn't do anything crazy, because he's clearly not in the right state of mind.
Okay, if you want to put yourself in that group, you can.
Sure.
What about, there we go. What about Donald Blythe? You're going to go with the doctor?
Yeah.
What about Blythe and Henry Hudson? You're going to go with the doctor and the criminal?
Yeah, I think just to stay, kind of keep the manpower spread out a little bit more evenly, and maybe try to keep a little bit of an eye on Peterson, knowing he's got a reputation, and thinking maybe I've got a better chance of recognizing any tells before he does anything, if he's going to. Not that I really expect him to.
See how easy it was to split the party? That was so easy. Anyway, I said the quiet part out loud. Let's get back to the adventure. Manwaring informs you that there are 3 decoys wandering the area, hardened women of the lower classes, with whistles and knives on their persons. Should Jack appear, they are to blow their whistles and attract the group's attention. He then suggests that you head in separate ways and start the hunt in earnest. The streets are quite empty at this time of night, with recent snow covering everything in blankets of white. Let's just make a note of where we go. I'm going to move this group is going to come south. Oh, not quite that far. They're going to start, not quite that far. They're going to come down here to the Hampstead Road, and they're going to head up towards kind of to the northwest. This other group, maybe you start more shallowly, go along Fleet Road, and come up here towards the Heath. And this way you can cover kind of a larger area up through there. Let's go to the group on the north first. This is the one with Peterson and Blythe and Henry Hudson and Dr. Godfrey. As you head along Fleet Road, where it intersects with the South End Road and Pond Street, there's a sharp corner in the buildings right here. And you've got a choice of ways to go. Now, Henry, you immediately see the area where you sat smoking your pipe, where you were recovering from that encounter with that child, or at least what you thought you saw. Do you say anything about that as you get close to this area?
No, I think
That pond is just
Henry
right
would.
there.
He might keep that to himself. However, he would recommend that perhaps we ought to go and look around there. In the report, it had mentioned that was an area where he was recently sighted.
So maybe you encourage the group to go more north
Yes.
down there. Okay. And the other group, as you begin to head up the road, you get about to Lyndhurst Road and Pond Street up here, and everything is still and quiet. The snow continues to fall. There are very few lights on, just a few gas lamps here and there. Most of them have been turned off, and the streets are very, very dark. Let me have Donald Blythe give me a luck roll, and I'm going to have Dr. Brand give me a luck roll as well. All right, Donald Blythe. Let me roll some dice here. Perfect. You walk past a window, Donald, and it's a not quite frosted glass, but because of the chill in the air, there is a little bit of frost around the outside of this glass. Your reflection in that glass, you look at it, you see yourself, and you look cold, and you see some of the others in your party, and they look cold as well. You see Peterson's reflection, and something's off. His reflection takes a fraction longer to come into focus, perhaps to show something different's going on. Is this really happening? Give me a sanity roll. Ooh. You're going to lose 1 point of sanity. So on your character sheet, you've got 60 sanity. It's the green box kind of in the bottom left-hand corner. Change that to 59. That will put you at 1 out of 12 for your daily limit. There we go. Perfect. What's your reaction to seeing that reflection?
I might trip a little bit and just gasp out, "Christ, man!" and turn and look at him and kind of not be able to hide sort of the wide-eyed reaction I've got.
And he
Um,
smiles that nasty, toothy grin at you, and you can smell the foulness of his breath, and it's bad. It's not just rotting teeth, but it's something far worse. It's almost a sulfury stench coming off of this man. And then he closes his mouth and he looks at you. All right, Governor, continue walking. And he reaches out to put his
Perfectly
hand on
fine,
you
thanks.
to steady you. How do you react?
I think I'd like to be trying to hide my nervousness with a cough and straightening my coat, take a step away and say, "I'm perfectly fine, thank you. Let's continue on, like you said." But I'm definitely going to try and maintain a little bit of just kind of half conscious distance from him out of fear and wariness. And definitely more than scanning the street for some Springtail Jack character, I'm going to keep looking back over to him and checking to make sure that nothing else too strange happens, I suppose.
As you're walking, every now and then you kind of peek over at him and you see that he is kind of humming a little tune to himself, and he kind of elbows you from the side and says, "If I was going to cut a throat, this would be the place to do it, eh?" And he kind of chuckles to himself. Let's jump over to the other group while we let that digest for a minute. Let me roll some dice here. Got a random table that I'm looking at here. That is a 59. Okay, so this is going to happen to Randolph Weatherby. As you are walking, there's a small coal window. So homes at the time had little windows that were right next down to like street level, little door, sometimes a window, and you could open that up and like a coal wagon would come by and they could just shovel coal down into that window to go into your house. You'd have to carry coal into your house, but go down a little chute at that little coal window. You're looking over at that coal window and suddenly you see a single jagged line beginning to slowly creep across that window there. And then you hear the crack. It's almost like a splintering, like a ripping of cloth as the glass parts beneath that little line. And you see it run and snake up, and then it slowly bends to the right and heads to the northwest. Or, to the northeast. Give me a sanity roll, Randolph. Oh yeah, no worries. No loss of sanity there. You know, it's cold. Perhaps there was a fault in the glass. Let's get your group moving on. You make it up here to about this far in the neighborhood. There is the soldier's daughter's home, which is right here. It's a home for daughters of soldiers, a place that they can go. We might have things like the Veterans Administration would do things like this in our country in the modern time. Back then, they had amenities like that for British soldiers. As you come out here along the high street near Gayton Road, there's a dog, and it's huddled up against the side of a building, and this thing is mangy and terrible looking. And Ragubir goes up and kicks the dog as hard as he can, and the dog lets out a yelp, and you swear you heard the crack of bone. And the dog scampers down the street, turning back every now and then with just this hurt, wounded look in its eye. And Ragubir says, "Yeah, that was not Spring Hill Jack. But it could be anywhere, it could be anything. It could be any one of you." And he looks defiantly at Randolph and Dr. Brand. Manwaring says, "Come now, Ragubir, do not be so difficult with our guests. They are here to help us." And Ragubir bows and begs your pardon. And as he continues to walk along, you see he's got his hand resting comfortably on his blade. Let's go back to Donald Blythe, Henry Hudson, Godfrey, and Peterson. Henry, where do you suggest to go from here? Do you head up towards those ponds?
I believe Henry would be curious to visit that location again.
You get up here near that pond. There's this little garden park road. There's some homes there. As you get near the pond, you can see that there is ice forming on the surface of the pond. It's probably not very thick. You saw ducks on there earlier in the day. Perhaps it's a gentle freeze at night that would thaw again in the morning as snow continues to fall. And give me a luck roll, Henry. Ooh. There is a fog beginning to rise up off the pond as the air gets colder and cooler. It's very dense with the moisture over the pond. And you see that fog slowly creeping in every direction, but very noticeably towards you. And you see shadows begin to grow as well as the gaslight behind you begins to weaken, and it sputters a few times, and then that gaslight goes out just as the fog begins to pour over the hill road, crawling through the homes like a hand pushing its way through clumps of hair, fingers drifting through the gaps between the homes and filling the street, and you can see it slowly approaching your group and obscuring your feet below the ankles. Henry, give me a sanity roll. You will lose 1 point of sanity. What is your outburst or your reaction? As that
I
light
succeeded
goes
on
out?
that sanity roll.
Well, you still lose 1 with a success. A loss, you would have lost
Oh.
4.
Okay. I don't know. Probably just a little worrying that there's no light. Hard to find clues without any light.
Dr. Godfrey chuckles. Oh, it's just a bit of darkness. There's other lights to be found. Oh, clearly this is your first time on a supernatural hunt, is it not? These things seem to come with the territory, flickering lights and whatnot. And Peterson says, "Ah, yeah, this here fog, very grim and dark. Could hide a body under this fog. Aye, that you could." Let's go back to the main group. Let me have who has not has Randolph. Give me a luck roll.
Oh dear.
Oh, we've already had that one. Let me roll another one. There we go. From the corner of your eye, Randolph, you spot movement, and your eye is used to this sort of thing. If you are out on patrol or in the service, you know to watch everything around you, and you see a flicker of movement off to your right, and you spin, and your hand immediately goes to your weapon. But there's nothing there, just the sense that someone or something was there, or perhaps it was a trick of the light, but you thought for sure that you saw some movement. Give me a sanity roll.
Yeah, that is a little unsettling, isn't it?
Yeah, you can't help but feel, ooh, you're going to lose
Oh,
4
yeah.
from that. You can't help but feel that perhaps you're being followed, and you know that that is the worst possible place for a soldier to be, is to be caught unawares. What is your outburst?
Yeah, probably just that he whirls on the spot. I think he pulls his gun out and he probably threatens like a lamppost or something.
Nice.
It's awesome.
Your group continues up the road about the same time as this group comes around the ponds near where you saw that boy. And Henry, your eyes are just fixed on that spot where he was feeding the ducks, and you see now that there's a large stone there. It looks like it's a monument. That was not there before. When you were there before, it was a boy, and you saw him. He turned and looked at you, but now it's a small stone monument. There's a marker of some sort, probably to signify that these are the Hempstead pawns, and how that you may have mistaken that for a boy, you have no idea. Then you hear the soft, gentle squeal of a child's laughter, and a moment later, a sharp whistle brings you to your senses. The sound of a whistle coming from just up ahead. As you both groups begin to head towards the sound of this whistle, then you hear a scream. And as you get there, Peterson is like, I know right where that is. Follow me. And he begins to hustle everyone towards that area. You see on the ground a black-clad form. It's sprawled on the street. Oh, that's Maisie, one of the decoys. She's a girl I knows. Oh, why didn't she... Oh, she's sweet to me, she is. Oh, if she's dead, so help me. And he leans down and, Maisie, come on, dear, come on. And tries to roll her over. As the larger group, this is the one with Ragubir, Dr. Brand, Randolph, Mr. Hodges, Mr. Manwaring, as they approach, what is everyone doing as Peterson comes over and is trying to get Maisie up off the ground? Let's start.
I think Donald.
Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I'm a little grimly heartened to see Peterson showing some concern for another human.
Right.
I'm going to, I suppose, are there any blind spots, corners nearby that I might run down the street just a little bit and get a better sight line, see if I can find anyone retreating from the scene, just kind of shot in the dark, start to cast a little bit of a net to see if I can spot anything.
So, based on the direction that you guys came from, and you see the direction that the others were coming from, it's likely that an assailant would have gone probably to the north. So maybe you try to cut off that, or look for tracks, or something up there to the north.
Yeah, just maybe go to the intersection in the street and just at least take a look down each of them and see if I notice any figures hustling away.
Perfect. What is Henry doing?
Yes, Henry will begin looking for tracks or any markings on the buildings that an escaping suspect might have made.
Okay. What is Randolph doing?
Well, I think Donald probably had the best ideas trying to follow up on. It seems like this just happened, see if there's any kind of indications of where the attacker may have come from or gone.
And how about Dr. Brand?
Well, I am a doctor, so I think I should go probably check on the girl who whistled to us.
Perfect. Let's go first. Let me have Donald, Randolph, and Henry give me spot hidden rolls. Well, that's terrible.
Thankfully, we've got that.
Does Randolph want to push that or spend luck?
No, he's probably pretty rattled. This creepy guy seems quite concerned. That's bizarre.
Donald, you see footprints. There are footprints that are heading up this well road, up in that direction. And Henry, you notice that there is a clump of snow near one of the homes. Right down here. It looks like it may have come from the roof, like something may have fallen off the roof, or perhaps someone has jumped off the roof onto the ground there, and that's where the footprints originate that then run up the road. So perhaps someone jumped off of a roof, did the deed, and then ran up this road here.
Is there an impact in the snow here, as if they had fallen, or does it look like they landed on their feet?
It looks like they landed on their feet. There's two very deep footprints. They're man-sized, like boot prints. But then you do see there are some tracks there. Now, Dr. Brand, you roll over Maisie. Give me a spot hidden roll as you get close there. Something's not right. There's no blood. You would expect to see blood here. If you've heard that Spring Hill Jack cuts people's throats, he smashes their bodies, stabs them, just very violent. He's not someone that's going to strangle or snap someone's neck. There's always been blood, but there's no blood here as you get close.
Are there any marks on her or anything?
Well, as you roll her over, this girl, or what you thought was a girl, springs up, casting this black cloak off.
Oh.
Massive claws, red eyes like balls of flame. This thing leaps up. Its white, gaunt face leers at you, and it giggles loudly. It then attacks. Let me pull Spring-Heeled Jack down right here. Dr. Brand, Spring-Heeled Jack is going to attack you. Let me pull the two. Actually, let me pull these guys into combat. Let me just grab some initiative here. One moment. Get everybody moved in here. Okay, no one had a gun drawn, I don't believe. Let me draw. This will go in dexterity order. Spring-Heeled Jack will go first. And Dr. Brand, you are right there.
Yeah.
Spring-Heeled Jack, he gets 2 attacks per round with metal claws that he slashes with. He rakes a claw across your body. Now in Call of Cthulhu, you can dodge or you can fight back. I'm going to roll to see if he succeeds here. He succeeds. It's an extreme success. This could be fatal. If you dodge, you need to get an extreme success. If you fight back, you need to get a critical. You need to roll a 0-1.
Okay, I think I'll dodge then.
So click on dodge on the chat bar, and then push the dodge button. Okay. That is...
Oh no.
Okay, let's just... Oh, shoot. Okay. I'm really sorry to do this,
no.
Dr. Brand.
Oh no.
No! Ran!
This is what I get for trying to help this poor girl.
Oh!
How do you
Cruel
die?
world.
Well...
And so you took more than your hit points in damage in a single blow, and that is no saving throw, no first aid, you're just dead. So make it gory, make it awesome and exciting here.
Well, I rush over to this girl to try to help her, because that's my instinct, is to try to save people as a doctor. And I roll her over to see the damage, and she just transforms in front of my eyes into this creature. And before I even know what's happened, I'm impaled. My eyes are they're blurry. I can feel the blood rising out of my throat, and I feel myself choking on my own blood. And I crumple onto the cobblestones, and I'm out.
What everyone else sees is he takes his hands and he raises them palm up, and he drives his long nails into your chest, going right in between your ribs, piercing your lungs and your heart. He then lifts you slightly to open up those wounds, And then as he retracts his hands, you fall into a clump, blood filling your lungs, spraying out of your mouth. Donald, you're up next.
Oof. Okay. I'm going to, just for my own reference, I'm at the intersection of the street, but I did see this. I can see
Yeah.
Spring Hill Jack.
You heard
Okay.
the scream of Dr. Brand. You can see him. Everyone is kind of shouting, "There he is! There he is!" And then a loud scream as Dr. Brand just gets annihilated.
Probably cry out, "Damn you, devil!" and take out my pistol and try and get close enough where I can have a reasonable chance of hitting him. I think if he's got like a lot of people around him, maybe I'll just take one shot.
Okay, so to do this on Foundry, you need to target Spring Hill Jack. If you hover the cursor over him and then push the letter T, it will target him. Perfect.
Okay.
And then from your character sheet, from the combat screen, click on your gun, and then it will pull up a little bit of info in the chat bar for us. Once you and I'm going to have you do this. Perfect. So this is going to be at long range with your pistol. And then you can click on roll firearms handgun on the chat screen and it will roll your percentile. Okay, that wow.
Awesome.
All right, yeah, so that's going to be a critical success. Anytime you get an extreme success with an impaling weapon, it'll do like max damage plus additional damage. So click on roll damage on the chat screen. And it's going to be 10 plus another d10 plus 1. So 15 points of damage to Spring Hill Jack. He takes the hit. He seems to have some sort of protection from this. It says he got 4 damage mitigated. He's got some armor on that seemed to protect him from some of that. But you hit him squarely. And perhaps the stories are true that he can take rounds and not fall. Randolph.
I'm gonna feel my. I'm sorry. Good.
Oh, go ahead, Donald. Finish your action.
I was just gonna say that feeling that I've landed a good shot and having seen what I just did, I'll probably feel my hands start to shake a little bit as I look at him over the rising gun smoke, and I know I hit him.
Oh yeah.
Ow. That's it.
Now, I forgot to have you give me a sanity roll as you see Spring Hill Jack. Let me have you give me a sanity roll. And Randolph, you're going to do the same thing now. Give me a sanity roll as you see Spring Hill Jack.
All right. Oops, I accidentally clicked the die. Didn't mean to do that.
Well, Donald, you were okay seeing him. You're going to lose 1 point of sanity, but you do not have an adverse reaction. Randolph, you're going to lose, especially seeing him take a shot and not go down, you're going to lose 3 points of sanity, Randolph.
Naturally. That seems pretty reasonable.
So that puts you at 7 out of 10. 3 more, and you are indefinitely insane. But it is your action, Randolph. What do you do?
Yeah. Well, Randolph's got an old, messed up bullet from in his pocket from the war down in South Africa that the late doctor pulled out of him.
Nice.
And maybe that's some comfort to him, knowing this thing can't be shot now. I think he's going to try to tackle it or hold it down or something. I don't know. Hopefully the smart people can figure out what's going on.
So that's going to be a fighting maneuver. Basically, you will roll a fighting brawl roll, and then he will get to do a fighting brawl back to try and resist that.
My God, you're so brave. There's no way I would get close to that.
You fumbled it. Well, not quite a fumble. So your skill is 50. If it's 50% or higher, then a fumble only happens on like a 99 or 100. If it's below 50%, it's a 96. So you didn't fumble it, but that's not good. He's going to fight back. Let me get this on here, and he will fight back. And if he gets a regular success, yeah, he does. So, let me just do no response here. So you're going to take some damage.
Oh yeah, okay.
Okay. So you take a major wound. So on the chat bar, there's a Constitution check to see if you fall unconscious. So you took more than half of your hit points in a single blow. So you drop prone, you take a major wound, and you resist. So you remain conscious. But that was a pretty severe wound. Henry Hudson, give me a sanity roll. You're going to lose 4.
Right.
And then what's your action?
Well, I will draw out my gun. And take a shot at Spring-Heeled Jack.
Okay. And there we go. Base range. And click on on the chat bar, one of the roll firearms.
Yep. Sorry, I just get rid of one of those. All right.
Oh my goodness.
Nice.
You guys are going to kill him before we even get to like the final battle. Holy cow. Okay.
He's slicing us pretty good too, I'd say.
Yeah, he takes a pretty severe, wow, pretty severe wound. Okay, it's his turn. He is going to, let's see, he's got a thing he does. Okay, he's going to burn magic points, and he leaps up into the air, and he actually leaps up on top of a building. We're going to end combat because he has effectively jumped out of this encounter. I'm going to move Dr. Brand. He leaps up onto a building up here, and then you see him leap off down into the road, and then Spring-Heeled Jack disappears from view. What do we do? Immediately, Donald Manwaring steps over the body of Dr. Brand to run after Spring-Heeled Jack, whereas Mr. Hodges leans down to try and comfort Dr. Brand as he passes away, and Raghubeer goes with Manwaring. What is Randolph? You're down on the ground. You are wounded. You're pretty badly wounded. What are you doing?
Yeah, I've never really. Cthulhu is a very. I've never been wounded and also not died. Actually,
Oh,
I haven't
nice.
played that much, but I'm not really sure. Like, can I do anything, or do I have to seek some kind of treatment? That
Nope.
would be
So
rational,
you
I think,
you don't have to do anything of the sort. You will need to get some medical care like tonight at some point. I'm going to assume you're no longer prone. I've got a little chart. It is right here. Let me show you this in Call of Cthulhu. This is how combat damage works. So if you take damage from a single wound, we'll do the middle one. It's equal to more than half of your maximum hit points. You fall prone, you make a con roll. And that's it. If your hit points fall to 0, if you've taken a major wound, which you have, you suddenly become dying and your hit points go to 0. And then someone in the next round has to give you first aid. If not, you start making constitution rolls. If you fail one each round, or if you fail one, then you die. And so you are at risk of dying if you drop to 0, but you're not dying right now. However, with Dr. Brand, it was on the right-hand side, the damage is more than the maximum hit points. It goes immediately to death.
right?
So you're still up and good. You're bleeding. You're badly wounded, but you're not dying yet.
Yeah.
But you are down to what, 3 hit points?
3 hit points.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's he had. So that means he had like quite a few. He's 80 Constitution. He's a beefy guy.
Oh yeah.
But
You've
he
been
wasn't
shot
really
before.
win. Yeah, so I think he would do what he can to, I don't know, clutch something against his wound and run after Donald, gun in hand.
Nice. What is Henry doing? Your partner is laying dead in the street, but your quarry is getting away.
I think Henry would uh, turn to the to Dr. Brand and say, "I will make sure that he is caught, Dr. Brand. I will avenge you," and then he will sprint sprint off with Donald.
Okay, and so Donald, Randolph, and Henry, you are all going after Spring-Heeled Jack.
Gee, thanks.
Sorry, Doctor Brand. You just lay here in this snow around this ever chilling puddle of red goo.
I wish we could help you, Dr. Brand, but it's times like these that you need a doctor.
Well, you've got Dr. Godfrey, but turns out he's just a professor. He's not actually a medical doctor. You begin to run and pursue and follow these tracks. Let me have Randolph give me a roll. This is going to be a track roll to see if you can follow these tracks. It's difficult because it's leaping and springing. So you'll see tracks where it runs and then it stops, and then 20 meters away you'll find where it landed and continues on. So give me a track roll to try and follow these in the snow. Do you want to push that or spend the 21 luck?
He doesn't have.
You don't have
20.
the luck. You want to push that?
I don't want to get lost. Maybe one of the others will be able to take lead.
Yeah, you're
Maybe
struggling
busy.
because these tracks are disappearing. Let me have. I don't know if Henry's going to be good at this. Yeah, let's have Donald try first. Try a track roll.
Okay. I will take a quick look around at the. Find him. He must have left tracks. Sort of a call. I don't really have much faith in my ability, but give it a go. Come on.
Oh, off by
I
11.
think.
You spend luck.
Yeah,
Or,
I've got a little bit of luck saved up for just such an occasion.
yeah, dump the luck. Perfect.
A
You
footfall over here.
you run towards the pond, and eventually you see there is a boathouse near the pond. And as your group gathers over there, let me post a picture. The tracks seem to lead you here to this pond. There's a boathouse that stands on the shore of a stagnant pond. It is built from brick with a slate gabled roof. The bricks are old and stained, and tiles are missing from the roof. There are two rowing boats next to the boathouse, rotted and half filled with water. One of the boats holds a 20-meter coil of rope, old but still usable. The door leading into the boathouse from the shore is bricked up, but there's also the door you can see on the picture where you could open that and you could move one of those boats if you wanted to store it inside the boathouse. But it looks like that you don't see a lock on there, but it is likely barred from the inside, otherwise the boats would be in there. So there does not seem to be a way into this. There's no door that would lead you into this. But it looks as though the tracks lead here.
Hmm. Hmm. I'm curious if, based on his ability to jump so high, there might be a hole in the side of the roof facing away from us, but I don't know how to check that without getting soaked up to my hips in freezing water.
It would be a little difficult to climb the walls, but it's not impossible. You would need to make a hard climb roll, which means you need to roll half of your climb skill or lower, but it is doable.
Um,
So you need to roll a 10 or lower to climb up there.
yeah, can I ask maybe if someone would, or maybe I could give Well, never mind. He just got clawed pretty hard. I can say I bet Randolph is probably more athletically gifted than I am,
Is it
and maybe I
jump?
could help give a boost or something. Um, maybe help someone else get up there.
If
But
Randolph or someone were to give you a boost, that would make it from a hard climb roll to a regular climb roll. That's automatically doubled your chances.
Ooh.
yeah, yeah. Will someone give me a boost? Maybe I try to avoid slipping down and twisting my ankle, but
Peterson
looks like I might be able
steps
to
up
take a
and
look
says,
inside.
"I've got you, sir. I'll give you that boost." And he
God.
grabs your legs and begins to push you up, and you can feel his cold hands on your legs, and his nails are digging into the flesh of your ankles as he lifts. And then he places his hands under your shoes and pushes you up. Give me a climb roll with a bonus die.
Okay. Peterson, I can't say that I love it, but you do good work. Give me a bonus die.
Oh, you got it.
Helpful.
You
Very
got it.
helpful.
Nice.
You scramble up onto the roof, and once there, you see that there is a large hole halfway down the western slope. The roof looks extremely fragile. To get across from here, you're probably going to need to make a luck roll. And you've been burning luck, so that may not be as easy as it
Yeah.
sounds.
Yeah, before I do anything rash and fall through and get a 2x4 through the chest, let me just say that you know, doesn't look very sturdy up here, but there's a hole. If he went this way, I think he might have taken it and be hiding inside. If I make it in, I think the first thing I'll do is try to unbar that door.
Perfect.
If you want to be ready to rush in to my aid, I don't wish to meet the same fate as our poor Dr. Brand did.
Certainly,
Doctor Who,
Randolph.
they've already
You take a
forgotten
point.
about him.
He's
But
just twitching and wheezing
It's
on
gonna
the
be
cobblestone.
it's gonna be Hudson and Godfrey here in just
Yeah.
about 5 minutes and just take on the new doctor. Give me that luck roll to work your way across that rotting roof.
All right.
Every step
Well,
you
don't
can
fail
hear
me
the
now.
timbers groan beneath your feet.
Oh, if I had been so frivolous earlier, I would have made it.
So you can't spend luck on a luck roll. Um, you can't push a luck roll either. So as
I
you
accept it.
are crossing, you feel the spongy wood sinking beneath your feet, and then you hear a crack, and you fall. Give me a jump roll to try and reduce some of this damage.
Okay. Try to kind of reach out and grab something or land not on my head. Ooh,
Boy, that's close. You have 12 luck if you want to push that, or spend the luck, or you can push it.
I'll spend the luck. It's not serving me that well anymore. So
We're coming up to the end of the game, so yeah, might as
Yep.
well spend that. You manage to, as you fall through, you leap to the side, and you can see that right where you had fallen, there were several bits of old lumber and a piece of iron that was sticking up, something that they would tie the boats onto. And that would have gone right up into your back had you fallen into that. And so you probably just narrowly avoid perishing. The inside of this boathouse is incredibly dark, so you need to kind of feel your way around with your hands. And as you reach around, heading in the direction where you think that door to be, you feel mud all around, mounds of earth filled with splintered wood. It's as though there's a large mound here, as though someone or something has dug a hole in which it hibernates and lives. And your hand closes on something cold and round and metallic. It feels like a pocket watch, and you probably absent-mindedly stuff it into a pocket. Old habits die hard. You
oh
head
yeah, absolutely.
you head towards that door, and you see there's a large beam across the inside of the door. Give me a strength roll to lift that beam.
Okay. Not too bad at these. I'll give it a go. Ooh,
Oh,
I'd like to
famous last
push that.
words. Yeah.
If I can try to maybe
Oh,
take a little bit of time and lift it.
Yeah.
Let me give another go to it. So I click in the chat and then push, right?
Yep. Excellent. There we go. So you put your back into it. In fact, you're trying to lift it kind of facing the door, and you finally decide, I'm going to turn and use my legs. And you put your back into it, and so you've got your back against the door. You're looking out into this darkness. And as you're lifting that board, you see two red eyes flare up from the other end. And it seems to be rising up from the ground as though Spring Hill Jack is climbing out of a hole in the ground. And you see the eyes, they blink out of existence a few times. He's blinking and looking at you. And you can hear a low, rasping, hissing voice as he begins to slowly approach you in the darkness. Suddenly, you push with all of your effort, and the beam falls away, and the door falls outward, and you crash down into that cold water. Give me a Constitution roll as you hit that ice cold water.
Definitely. I think at this point I'm probably just kind of babbling a little bit. I'm definitely. I'm terrified.
Oh yeah, you're gonna give me a sanity roll right after that con roll.
Ooh. Okay, and then sanity.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah, that makes sense.
All right,
That feels about right.
You're going to lose 1 hit point from just the cold, the chill hitting you, sapping some of your strength. And you're going to lose 6. Okay, well, you get to try out a fun rule in Call of Cthulhu. If you
Nice.
lose 5 or more in a single go, you have to make an intelligence roll. Now, this is to see if you comprehend what's going on. Ideally, you want to fail this roll. If you fail this, that means that you just kind of lock all this horrible stuff back into your subconscious. You'll deal with it another day in therapy. If you pass this, that means that you become incredibly aware of exactly what is going on, and that this thing is a supernatural being that's coming to kill you. So give me
Okay.
that intelligence roll.
Come on. Ignorance is bliss.
Yep, you want to fail.
Oh
shoot.
no! Yeah,
All right.
I can think of
so-
10 ways this is horrible.
Yeah. In fact, roll 1d10 and we will roll for your bout of madness. This is how long it will last in rounds.
Oops, I just want one of those. Nope. 1d10.
4 rounds. Now roll it again, and I'm looking at a table, and this will be what it's going to be. 6, which is faint. So you will faint.
Ooh, back into the
4
freezing
rounds.
cold water.
Yeah, into the water. So you come through the door, and the people on the outside see you fall, and you hit the water, and you never come up. You're under the water. They can see bubbles coming up, but you are. It's under the water. You don't see those eyes. It's cold, and you feel that cool embrace. As you're like, I'm just gonna lay here. If I come up, he's gonna be right in front of me. All right, let me just drag you guys into combat so we've got some initiative here. And let me make Spring Hill Jack visible again. Alright, and did Hudson have a pistol drawn?
He did have a pistol drawn, yes.
Okay. Let's get to it. Alright, Spring Hill Jack is up first. And as the door opens, he's going to leap out towards the opening. And I'm going to do even is going to be he goes after Randolph. Odd, he goes after Hudson. Goes after Randolph. You're already wounded. He's got his claws already sunk into you. And he's going to come at you with his razor sharp claws. You can dodge or you can fight back. And that's a hard success. So if you dodge, you need a hard success. If you fight back, you need an extreme success.
Ooh. Okay, well, Randolph's pretty good at dodging, so reckon that would be his natural instinct.
You can, on the chat bar, just hit the dodge 50%. Oh, and you did dodge. Excellent. So, and you got the hard success. So you dodge out of the way as this claw rakes right past you, and that likely would have been death had you not dodged that. Now, he gets 2 attacks per round, so then he will rake out a claw towards Hudson with his second attack. Let me target Hudson. And Hudson, you may dodge or you may fight. Oh, he missed. So if you want to fight back, you may be able to get some licks in here.
Yes. It doesn't have an option to fight back with my gun.
No,
Would I
so
be able to do that?
you can't. Not with your gun. You could like punch him or pistol whip him.
I do have a small knife. I guess I could just use that.
Yeah. You could,
Or would I have to have it drawn already?
no, you can automatically pull a knife out. So you can
Well, I will
fight back with your knife.
do that.
And
Oof,
no.
no.
So both sides fail. Randolph, you're up next.
Okay, we're all pretty close together.
You do have your gun out.
Yeah, could I not just like press it against it and shoot?
Absolutely.
Pretty close. I don't want to hit any friends,
that will be
but
point blank. So if you want to target him and then click on your pistol under your combat screen, or if it should, I think this has the HUD like Dragonbane. You can just click on your pistol, and this is going to be point blank range. All right, and you may roll firearms. Oh, okay. Well, this is going to do it. Tell me how you kill Spring-Heeled Jack.
oh well, he he just tried to claw me. Maybe I ducked under it, pressed my gun up against his armpit or something, and shot, and it just happened to get something good.
You see dark black blood just spray out of Spring-Heeled Jack. And it splatters on the wall, and he slumps down into the water, his eyes locked on Donald Manwaring. And Donald comes up to him and just starts to punch him repeatedly, beating his lifeless body into a pulp with his fists. And Ragubir, after 7 or 8 punches, finally comes up and begins to pull Donald off of him. "It is over, sir. It is over. There is nothing to worry about." Now, we still have a guy under the water. Does anyone help him?
Yeah.
Peterson
Yeah, I like to
will
imagine
reach
if-
in.
I was so happy under here not having to look at him, and then he died and fell on top of me. So I'm like, oh,
So under
thrashing
the
around a
water,
little bit.
You do see,
I guess I fainted.
you
Yep.
see a pale face leering over you in the water. Its mouth open, sharp teeth, and hands reach out and they grab you, reaching for your neck. But then they grab your collars and they pull you up, and it's Peterson. And he's like, "I got you out of the water. I'm not going to shine your shoes. Come on now. Fight's already over. You missed it, sleeping as you were." And he pats you on the back, and he kind of nods at you, acknowledging that you did, in fact, play a huge role in getting that door open. Otherwise, who knows what could have happened. But Jack seems to be dead, and you look at him, and your feeling of panic begins to swiftly pass. And then your hand falls upon that pocket watch that you grabbed. You pull it out, and you look at it, and on the back of the watch there's an inscription. And it reads, "To my darling Jacob, your loving wife Mary." And Dr. Godfrey says, "Oh, that's the names of Donald Manwaring's grandparents. Old Jacob. He started this club." And then you look at the body of Spring-Heeled Jack and at Donald, and you can see the resemblance. The eyes, the nose, the cheekbones. They are related in a family way. And Donald looks up and says, "It is over. Thank you very much, gentlemen, for your work tonight. I think it is time to disband the club. We've done enough, and the club is no longer serving a purpose for us. Spring Hill Jack, he'll not trouble anyone anymore. My grandfather is finally put to rest. Now, as a reward for defeating and destroying Spring Hill Jack, everyone will receive 1d8 sanity points. And then we will do some character improvements. So you get a chance to do that. So if you want to roll a 1d8, I am going to activate the development mode. Perfect. So on your character sheet, now that I have development mode activated, if you notice, there's a blue ribbon with gears up on kind of near the top of your character sheet. If you click on the two gears with that blue ribbon, it will say development phase, and you click on that and it will roll all of your improvement rolls. So Henry Hudson improved firearms, psychology, and spot hidden, all by only 1%, the minimum. Donald Blythe improved everything. Randolph improved nothing. So we can see if Dr. Brand would have improved anything. Oh yeah, your library use got better. So well done.
It's gonna be kind of hard for me to use that now.
That's so sad.
Probably, but what an awesome unexpected death, which sometimes
that was horrific. I was like, oh my god.
Awesome. So yeah, we got to experience a little bit of death, a little bit of insanity. Randolph says you probably say a few words about Dr. Brand and that debt has not been repaid, and you're only regretting that even though Spring Hill Jack is gone, you regret that Dr. Brand is no longer here for you to serve. Let's do an epilogue. Let's say 6 months from now. What is Randolph Weatherby doing?
I don't, because we didn't. Randolph didn't really interact too much with, as you can see from the improvements, he didn't roll very much. But I don't know what Hudson would do after this. But I think Randolph would probably go his own way with the doctor dead. Maybe travel for a bit, just do the regular handyman work, the same thing, but for less worthy people. Unfortunately, that's quite tragic.
Yeah, you owed a great deal to Dr. Brand, and with his passing, that sense of duty has passed on as well. What about Donald Blythe? 6 months from now, where is Donald Blythe?
I think that, I'm still gonna try and stay on the straight and narrow. Try to avoid any sort of relapsing into too much indulgence in illegal activities, but probably just going along with whatever Henry Hudson is doing with the agency, and I'd say every week or so, just making another trip out to Donald Manwaring's house, just to take a look and make sure he's at home reading or some such. I don't like the connection he had, and I don't really understand it, so I can't help but be curious and a little bit filled with dread of the thought that there might be a new generation of Spring Heel on the rise sometime.
Spring Heel Donald will be the next one.
Mm-hmm.
What about Henry Hudson? 6 months from now, where is Henry? Is it still Hudson and Brand, or is it different?
I think, Hudson had probably considered changing it to just the Hudson Detective Agency, but it's remained in honor of Dr. Brand, the Hudson and Brand. But he is still hard at work, investigating various mysteries. He still is not completely convinced that was supernatural, as he does not firmly believe in the supernatural, but he definitely would still seek mysteries and detective work for himself.
One day while you are at work, there is a knock on the door. It's dark outside. It's nearly time to head home. You've just closed up your desk and locked it, and there's a knock on your office door. When you open the door that night, it's Peterson. And he looks at you, and he's got a top hat on. It's kind of worn. And he takes it off, and says, "Sir, I need to confess something. May I come in?" And as
Certainly.
as you invite him in, he steps in, and the camera would show from behind him drawing a blade out from the back of his pants, and then he shuts the door behind him, and the screen goes black, and that's the end.
No.
And we'll leave it at that. Awesome. Well, you guys did great, except for Dr. Brand. You did great up to a point, and then you just couldn't do any more. So,
Yeah.
but still, fantastic researching, fantastic effort. I had a blast with this. I hope that you all enjoyed it. I had a really good time with this one. This was a fun one.
Yeah, this was awesome. Thanks, everyone. This was I played a couple one shots, and this was everything I'd hoped they would have been. They even when they were really good, this is my favorite one so far by
Awesome.
by a good long
This
shot.
one has a little bit of everything. It's got awesome investigating. It's got a real creepy monster. It's got some NPCs that, like, I suspect that guy and that guy, and it's probably that guy too.
Mhm.
You know?
Yeah, I kept thinking like, oh, are they? Is it all an elaborate setup, or is this the one? And it could be anyone. You know, it definitely kept me on my toes.
And then we got to have death. We got to have insanity.
Yeah.
Like we got a little bit of everything in here. So
Yeah, it definitely had
fantastic.
more of like a cinematic, sort of like a movie-ish feel to it in that way, where it was like something
yeah.
crazy happened right at the start of the climax.
Yeah, absolutely. That was fantastic. And you guys, so Spring Hill Jack, he's tough, but 2 impaling shots,
Yeah,
almost back to
so
back.
lucky.
I had no chance.
So he was down to
No.
1 hit point when he jumped away. So like you guys almost had him.
Yeah, I saw that. It said 4 mitigated, 5 damage. I was like, wow, he had to be really hurt.
Yeah, he
love
had
kills
1
too.
hit point there at the end, so it was nuts.
Yeesh.
I don't know if Blake, you probably don't know, but I record the session, so I've been recording this, and I'm actually gonna post this on YouTube. You're more than welcome to go back and watch it and relive, the adventure. I will post the link on Discord here shortly. If for any reason you don't want that posted, let me know, and I won't put it up there.